this is what she said.
Mama rolled over, this is what she said.
Give me some.
Give me some.
Give me some.
Give me some.
PT.
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 Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for me.
Good for me.
Good.
Good.
Up in the morning to the rising sun.
Up in the morning to the rising sun.
Gonna run all day till the running's done.
Gonna run all day till the running's done.
Ho Chi Minh is the son of a bitch.
Ho Chi Minh is the son of a bitch.
Got the blue balls, crabs, and the 7-year itch.
Got the blue balls, crabs, and the 7-year itch.
Well, hello everyone.
Yeah.
Jeff, we did it.
We're back.
We're here. So please, and thank you for being here. Welcome to The Rhythm Section, a Memphis music podcast produced by SRP Studios Podcasting, srpstudiosllc.com.
You can catch new episodes every Tuesday morning on Apple and Spotify, 6 p.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook, and 7:30 p.m. on radio-music.com.
And please follow us at therhythmsectionpod.com for all channel links and episodes. Mr. Jeff Ward in the house.
It's good to be back.
Man, it is so good to be back. It's been a long break, hasn't it?
It has been.
First, back to our formula. Today, we got Rick and Monica from Radio Memphis.
Yes.
More about them in the next segment.
And Rosie.
Rosie Palms.
Yeah, she mentioned.
Yes, we'll be talking about Rosie Palms.
Yeah.
And next week, we have Jonas and Leslie Palmer from The Pinch.
Absolutely.
Wow. So much to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, this first intro is probably going to be a little lengthy, but we are, it'll take us a couple of episodes to get things exactly like we want them.
Exactly. And we are going to reiterate and kind of repeat a few things that we mentioned in our update episode that we put out a month ago or so. So we'll try to fly through quickly, but we always have different ears, different eyes on the show.
Right.
So it bears repeating a little bit as we're starting our new season.
Yeah, so if you're hearing all that stuff for the second time, good on you for listening the first time.
And
if you're hearing it for the first time, fuck off.
Whoa!
No,
Jeff coming in.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Shut up, man.
You know we love you.
And let us know if you want to hear it a third time. We'll hook you up. Studio. We're in a new home. And we want to thank Big Note Music Lessons. More on him, too, in a minute. But, yes, we had to make a shift. Moved across town. Go listen to our last update episode to get more details on that. But part of the reason why we took such a long break was for that reason. And also landed on the holidays.
Yes, it did.
It just was what it was. But Jeff and I...
Nice. Very well done.
We ramped up about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we've got 4 interviews filmed.
Mm-hmm.
And after we film this, we have guests coming in.
Yeah,
so,
we got several more booked and ready to go.
So we're trying to get ahead. That was part of the planning. And then here we are, February 11th, Tuesday, February 11th. Again, different published day. We'll get to that as well.
Yeah.
So good to be here. Good to be with you, Jeff.
Absolutely.
We've knocked off some of the cobwebs for doing all the interviews we've been doing. Yeah. But the first intro of a new season like this is a little nerve-wracking. So.
Yeah, and we even did a read-through before we went on camera for this, and that certainly doesn't mean that this won't suck.
We actually rehearsed. So and thank God we did. Yeah. Because
we caught a few things.
We hit some issues there. Let's talk about the fuel for the podcast.
Okay.
So man, people stepped up.
They did.
Between our message and the update episode, we basically said we don't have any right now.
Right.
We didn't want to go back to the well on our previous sponsors. They did enough for us. Yeah. I mean, they were amazing. And then you started putting out some posts, and tossing it out there, hey, we're looking.
Right.
And people stepped up
Yeah, they did.
in a really, really cool way. Area 51 is returning.
Yep.
So thank you to Area 51. They reached out and said, hey, are you still doing sponsors this year? I'm like, yes. And then I said, we didn't go to you guys because you guys have done a lot.
Sure.
Since very early. You know, there was Sean Few and then there's Area 51 right after him. So they're like, no, we want to do it.
Yeah.
So they're back. So thank you to Area 51. You want to talk about Steve Owens?
Yeah, Steve Owens and the Musicians Booking Agency. I mean, if you don't know who Steve Owens is, then you're in a coma. He is everywhere. He helps everybody. He does so much. And he doesn't charge to do this stuff. Steve just loves doing what he does.
Yeah, so you'll hear more in his actual commercial that he'll get, but Steve Owens is the guy in town that just loves helping bands in a way of like almost being like a manager for them.
Yep.
And finding work for them. And Steve has relationships with all the bookers in town.
Yep.
They often call him, hey, we need someone.
Right.
And then Steve sort of has this roster of bands behind him that he helps. And Generation X is one of them.
Yep.
Right? Shirts. Here and there during his ad, we'll talk maybe more about his shirts and what him and Katrina do with logos and cups and shirts and merch. As we are wearing... There you go.
You know.
First, let's show the shirts.
Yeah.
We get our Memphis Music Family shirts made by Steve Owens. And so lots to talk about with Steve. But basically his ad is going to consist of, a commercial for Musicians Booking Agency and various dates that he hand delivers us, the bands that he wants to promote. Jason Moore.
Yep.
More Loud.
Yes.
Thank you for stepping up. He absolutely just raised his hand and reached out to us. He's a really awesome guitar player in town and pays tribute to Dick Dale.
Yep.
You'll learn more in his ad there, but he wanted to push his website, his project.
And we appreciate him for doing that. And full disclosure, I played with Jason. I went and rehearsed with him once. And I learned real quick that the Dick Dale stuff is just not my thing. Like, I'm not that guy.
It's very niche.
It's very niche, and your drumming has to. It's just a certain type of groove and feel, and it's not me.
So we'll be talking about his upcoming LP, singles, website,
and he'll be out playing live and doing all that good stuff.
Big Note music lessons.
Yes.
So here we are. We went more into detail in our update video last month.
Right.
But Manny, I've made Manny a sponsor that we're going to read in the segue break. And as a way to thank him for letting me steal a room from him. You know, he didn't have to, he's trying to run a school in here.
Right.
And gave up a room for me.
Yeah.
We came up to a good agreement. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to do everything I can to promote you.
Yeah, we'd probably be in like Walmart parking lot doing this right now, if not for Manny. So.
Who knows? That might be around the corner. You never know what's going on.
Yep.
And then we already have donors.
Yep.
So I asked this person if it's okay to mention names, because often people that donate to our Venmo or Cash App would, they like to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
So I made sure to ask because I want to say their names and spotlight them. And it's Kenny and Tina, Mr. Kenny Francis and Tina Hines. Thank you. They stepped up. Again, they were a big donor last year, too.
Yeah.
We didn't mention any names last year, but just to let you know, this isn't the first time they step up and donate for us.
Right.
So we're very grateful for you, Kenny and Tina.
And David Griffin Audio.
Yes.
Big
so
one.
another one that just came out of the woodworks. He's like, hey, I want to help. So we're going to be pushing his audio company and lights and sparks and flames and pyro and all the good things.
Does it all.
So thank you, David Griffin. You're awesome. All these guys just stepped up and wanted to support and help, making us not have to be salesmen, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the unfun part of this gig.
Yeah, it's tough asking.
Yep.
We still have space for one thing.
Yeah.
That's the corporate sponsor.
Yeah.
That is still the one that would really top this whole thing off.
Yep. That'd be great.
So behind the scenes.
And we've had a couple of people reach out about it. Nothing has materialized yet.
We'll be following up, you know, not to break into a sales meeting here, because trust me, we're not salespeople.
No.
But
I suck at that.
But as a message thrown out to the universe, we're looking for that one title, the one that really wants to put their logo on everything, and be a partner in a way.
To all of our Facebook people, which is where I think most people know us from.
Big announcement.
Yeah, we do have a YouTube page as well, but I think most people follow us on Facebook. That's where they know us from. But I put out a call to action to have people go and follow our page, and you guys stepped up and did it. We jumped up like 250 or 300 followers in just a matter of a day and a half. We broke 2,000 followers.
Yes.
And that's awesome.
We are in the 2,000 club.
Yeah, now we're looking for 5,000.
Let's go.
We're going to go big or go home.
But yeah, thanks to everyone that has followed us throughout this off season.
Yeah.
I tried to push as much content and reuse as much content as we have over the last several months now. And people like Chris Craig, Steve Owens, I don't want to miss anyone, but those two stand out because they share everything. Yep. And we can't be more grateful for that.
And there's more of you that do it. We're sorry we don't mention everybody, but the sharing of the episodes and the Sunday replays and the Throwback Thursdays and all that stuff, people have really stepped up, and that's huge because we were gone for a while. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have that being shared, and then people are going to. In this day and age,
you have to.
A band releases a single, and 36 hours later, they need to release another one. I mean, that's how quick things happen. Well, now, you know,
content like this needs to be steady and current. Not necessarily current because we defied the current part.
It just needs to be out there.
Yeah, high frequency.
Right,
it needs to push out.
Right,
because I know when I'm searching Facebook pages for whether it's a business or someone that I'm trying to book on the Real Hernando or whatever, I'm searching businesses on Facebook constantly, and sometimes you'll go to a page and they haven't posted in 9 months.
Right.
It's different. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, why are they not active?
Right.
You know, so it's important to stay active. So I just wanted to stay in people's feeds and I guess annoy everybody.
Well, you know, hey, it's not very annoying, or they wouldn't be sharing and doing.
So thanks to the people that share, like, comment, all of the above. We love y'all, and let's hit 3,000.
Absolutely,
let's get there.
Let's do it.
Radio Memphis.
Yeah.
Okay, so this ties into why you're hearing us on Tuesday. If you're listening to us on Published Day,
right?
Last year, we started a relationship with Radio Memphis, and we have been, airing archive interviews,
right?
The Sunday replay interviews every Tuesday night at 7:30 on radio-memphis.com. But now we're in our new season.
Yeah,
that was just a way to give them content while we were down, but now we're up.
Right.
So we thought it'd be better to line up with Tuesday because last year we published this show on Wednesdays and. It was crazy. It just made it weird. Like today's episode would then be the following Tuesday.
Right.
And then you and I announced band dates, so it wouldn't make sense.
Well, now everything is streamlined.
So early morning, Apple, Spotify, 6:30 p.m. Central. Why 6:30? 6 p.m. Central.
There we go.
Every Tuesday on YouTube and Facebook, our full video.
Yeah.
And then 7:30 p.m.
Radio
Central,
Memphis.
radio-memphis.com.
Yeah.
And, we can't promote. This is interesting.
Great Scott!
As we record this,
right,
we will be meeting.
That's right.
Rick and Monica at Radio Memphis,
right,
as a way to promote the new season and promote their episode.
Right.
By the time you hear this,
it's already happened.
We had already been in there.
Right.
So we'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about that experience.
We already met Rosie in person.
That's right. Yeah, we were there for the Fast Brothers had a CD release, performance on the show, and that was a whole lot of fun. But big opportunity to maintain our relationship with Radio Memphis. So you will hear us mention Rick and Monica in the morning every week too. Now they kind of making them a sponsor as well because it's a trade.
It is.
We're trying to help each other out. Hence why they are our
Dooba dooba dooba.
Season opening interview.
That's right.
By design. Oh, man, anything else?
I think that covers all that.
Boy.
We can move on to the next.
I know we're missing something,
thing.
but this is when we, boom.
Right. That's got to change.
You want to change this music?
That music's got to change.
That and this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Sean, Jimmy, get to work. Record something.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to have original music.
Yeah.
So, the Musicians Booking Agency. Are you looking for the best live music in Memphis? Steve Owens and the Musicians Booking Agency connect top bands with the hottest venues in town. Whether you are a band looking for gigs or a venue needing incredible talent, the Musicians Booking Agency has you covered.
Yeah, stay in the loop. Follow on Facebook at the Musicians Booking Agency for updates on upcoming shows. Dooba dooba dooba.
We'll get this one.
You need I need to talk to.
That's a good one.
And new artist. Memphis music starts here. Don't miss out.
Contact Steve Owens at 901-870-6846.
Yeah, and we'll give you a rundown for the shows for this week with the Musicians Booking Agency. Wednesday, February the 12th, the Shotgun Billies Trio at Hadley's, 7 to 11. Thursday, February the 13th, Gen X makes their debut at Rooster's Blues House, 535 South Highland. That show will be 9 to 12. And Friday, February the 14th, 5 for the Kill at Horseshoe Casino, 9 to 2. And Brad from 5 for the Kill was at our show. That was awesome.
All right,
Thanks
you, Brad.
for coming out with the support, Brad.
These next three dates are also Friday the 14th. You get Your Mom's New Boyfriend debuting at the world-famous Lafayette's, 9:30 start. Grand Theft Audio, Hadley's, 8 p.m. start. And then Friday the 14th, Troy Isom and Angela Burton doing a duo. Sidecar South Haven starting at 7.
Saturday, February the 15th, 5 for the Kill is at Horseshoe Casino, 9 to 2. Gen X and the debut of Chasing Angels. They will be doing this show with us at Sidecar South Haven, 7 to 11. And Elevation Memphis, a Tina Turner tribute, is at Lafayette's, 5 to 8.
901 Rocks, Hadley's, 8 to midnight. The new and improved Midnight Train from Memphis, the crossing in Olive Branch, 8 to midnight. And our friends, formerly known as, will be at Neil's, 8 to midnight. All of these Saturday, February 15th.
Sunday, February the 16th, The Kitchen and The Cross.
That's right.
Yeah, the benefit featuring 901 Rocks, Grand Theft Audio, Angela Burton with guests. A 360 photo booth will be on site for a $5 donation. I know that there are plenty of females that want to use that thing.
You don't want to?
There'll be some crazy photos taken, I'm sure.
I would love to see some 360s of you, Jeff. What are you talking about?
You know what? Let's go stop by and you and I will get in there together.
Aw,
yeah.
How sweet.
And that's at Neil's Music Room, 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.
More Loud proudly pays tribute to the king of surf guitar, Dick Dale. Guitarist Jason Moore captures Dale's signature sound with aggressive, fast, and highly rhythmic playing, featuring rapid alternate picking, heavy reverb, and a powerful staccato attack that defined Dick Dale's sound.
In addition to honoring Dick Dale, More Loud performs instrumental rock and roll versions of classics like Smoke on the Water, Louie Louie, House of the Rising Sun, and they're all infused with that unmistakable Dick Dale energy. Coming spring of 2025, More Loud will release his original EP, Louder Than Life. New singles, Finish Line and Paradiso, are out now.
Visit moreloud.com for music updates and more. That's MOORELOUD.com.
David Griffin Audio. Bands, are you ready to take your show to the next level?
Yes.
David Griffin Audio brings big sound, bright lights, flames, and sparks to every event. From private parties to festivals, fairs, clubs, and even poolside and patio gigs, experience the largest QSC system. And if you're a musician, you know QSC makes some amazing stuff. I'm sure it will absolutely blow your clothes off. In the area with David Griffin Audio.
No job is too big or too small. Follow them on Facebook at David Griffin Audio for updates. You can call him at 901-299 1344 or email davidgriffinaudio@gmail.com. Bring the energy, bring the show. David Griffin Audio.
Our brothers in Area 51, they are one of the premier bands in the Memphis and North Mississippi area, bringing you songs from classic artists such as Boston, Van Halen, Styx, and Stone Temple Pilots. Be sure to check out a show and enjoy the Joshine level slick sounds of Area 51.
That's right. Saturday, February 15th. This is actually going to be a Elevation Memphis, a Tina Turner Tribute Experience announcement. But it ties in because special guest Lance Binder on bass and Josh Haynes on guitar.
Yeah.
Sitting in with them at Lafayette's on that night. That's going to be pretty awesome.
Do you happen to know who will be on drums at that show?
Kyla Williams.
Kyla. Okay.
The great, powerful Kyla Williams.
She and Lance will make some stank face.
Darren Lee on keys.
Yeah.
And then, of course, LaShawn Robinson and Melanie Pierce up front doing their thing. And then Friday, February
there you go,
21st.
Dooba.
Area 51 will be at Shake Rag.
You know, we got through that pretty damn well. There were very few mistakes.
But it's also one of those typical things where when you do a dry run through with the cameras off,
right,
it's a different vibe. But then you turn everything on,
right,
and nerves kick in a little bit because I'm just not used to it.
I want to go back to More Loud real quick.
Okay.
And just say something a little off the cuff here.
Uh-oh.
And I am not.
Watch out.
I am not a guy who understands guitar gear.
I don't know what to expect from you right now.
But
I'm nervous.
Jason really follows Dick Dale.
Yeah,
he is very, very much into this.
Absolutely.
His rig is modeled after what Dick Dale played through.
Mm-hmm.
I believe his amp is custom built with, again, I'm not super knowledgeable, but it's one big, huge metal woofer, tweeter, whatever you call them in the speaker, and it gives it that distinct sound.
Very bright.
Very bright. It sounds like a Dick Dale show.
And part of the sound is volume.
Right.
And Jason Moore is very proud of the level of his volume.
He will tell you.
It's part of the music. It's part of the sound. And
absolutely.
He will take it as a compliment.
Yes.
He told me this.
Yes.
He's like, Derrick, one time someone told me I was way too loud, and I took it as a compliment. So there you go.
That's it.
It's part of the sound.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you, Jason, for doing this with us.
Yeah.
All right, Radio Memphis. Ric Chetter, Monica Summerfield,
yes,
joined us in the studio, again, by design. I think it was back when we were at Radio Memphis hanging out with the Fast Mothers. Mm-hmm. We were like, we need you guys in.
Yeah.
And it needs to be the season opener. It just makes too much sense.
Right.
And they were like on it. Yep. And they booked with us. It was easy sailing. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Got to hear more about them in terms of Ric's history with Rock 103.
That was probably my favorite part of the interview.
Yeah.
Because I grew up here. I spent 20 years in my car for my job. So I listened to Rock 103 every day on the road. And it was just cool to hear him talk about Bad Dog and the Wake Up Crew and what Ric did and all that. It was just neat.
I remember on Facebook when Rock 103 flipped, as they call it.
Yeah.
You know, they changed format and they kind of technically moved the music of Rock 103 to a different dial position, but it was weaker. It was just one of those things. So, not growing up here and not really listening to radio ever.
Right.
I didn't know that Rock 103 was like that iconic station for the area until they went away. So I knew, having Ric in here, we had to bring that up because I knew so many people like yourself in this audience would want to hear that.
And make no mistake, when you guys hear the intros, sound bites for this show that we do, like you heard Full Metal Jacket or whatever, we will absolutely have some Bad Dog Twilight Phone
there you go.
Intros.
Go find it for me.
They're so funny. I'll send you some of those.
Sure.
They're amazing.
Absolutely. Then, of course, Ric's history in starting Radio Memphis, which segues straight from Rock 103 into it.
Walk, run,
Waka, waka, waka.
Dooba dooba dooba.
So the Chinese version of Rock 103. Walk 103.
Fa ra 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 ra. So that's interesting because it's starting an internet radio station is a whole other ball of wax, and so he tells us about this.
We were doing so good.
Then we bring in Monica
in
the conversation. We had to finally shut Rick up because he wouldn't stop talking.
That's right.
And then we talked to Monica about her history, which is not in radio.
Right.
She's big into the indie film scene here in Memphis.
And she talked about a movie, I believe, that's on Tubi.
Yes.
That she's involved in, or she's in. Well, did she say she's actually has a cameo, or she's in it? Or
she's in several things.
Okay.
Whether it's
you can tell I haven't listened.
And I have, so I should remember this. But she talks about all of her experience in front of the camera, behind the camera, as a producer, all those things. So that's really interesting. And then how she eventually got onto the show and met Rick, and how she just fell in love with the purpose in there and wanted to help. Right. And slowly, over time, landed the morning show deal with Rick.
Yep.
And announcement in this interview as well. Mm-hmm. At the time we filmed this, Rick said they hadn't talked about it yet on their show.
Right.
Maybe by now they have. I don't know. But they go into detail on shifting Radio Memphis to a nonprofit.
Right.
And that will allow them to receive grants and fundraising events and all kinds of good things. So they're pretty happy about that move and seeing that it will help grow the station and mission.
For sure.
So it's good stuff there. Oh, boy.
That wasn't bad.
What people don't know is this is the fifth time we do all of that. No. But it will get better.
Yeah, for sure.
It will get better. We will...
I think part of the appeal is that we suck at times.
Oh, 100%.
I think that's why people listen.
I mean, that's why we have sounds. The very first sound, our OG sound, was designed to pick on ourselves. No sound used more for myself than this one.
You're the only. You need one that I need to talk to.
Big Note Music Lessons. Are you ready to play? Well, Big Note Music Lessons offers one-on-one and group guitar, bass, keys, drums, and voice lessons. Try a free lesson, no obligation. Plus, enjoy a free studio tour and consultation. Visit BigNoteMusicLessons.com. Complete the submission form and start your musical journey today. BigNoteMusicLessons.com.
Start your Radio Memphis day within the morning.
I'm glad I'm not the only one today. Thank God.
With Rick and Monica from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central for a wild ride of fun segments like News from the Stupid, this guy, that guy, this guy, or this guy, that guy, and Crime Time, and more. Radio Memphis, where the planet tunes in to hear what Memphis sounds like. Radio-Memphis.com.
Please follow this shit show at therhythmsectionpod.com. There you will find our links to everything you can imagine.
Sincerely, thank you to all who have donated.
Yes.
You can donate to our tip bucket by clicking our Venmo and CashApp links in the description, or search the Rhythm Section Pod on either app. We can't do this without you guys. We really appreciate it.
And one last time, don't forget, the Rhythm Section streams on radio-memphis.com every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Go support Radio Memphis. They're good people doing good things.
And you just heard about damn near every band in town and where they're playing and what time. So get out.
Yes.
Support a local band and venue. They need you.
And I forgot to mention that I did go out to see The Pinch.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about them next week.
Yeah.
We'll go back into our normal form where we do talk about our experiences going out.
Yes.
So thank you for sitting through this one. The first one of a new season is always interesting for all of us. But please enjoy our interview with Rick and Monica from Radio Memphis. This is very exciting. We have our good friends, Ric Chetter and Monica Summerfield from Radio Memphis, everybody. Woo. Yes.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks
For the partnership.
Yeah.
You know, when this all started going down, it was quick. It was shortly after that we broke down for our season break. But I was like, Jeff, we need to get them in here. You know, so then we came up with the idea of making you guys our season opener. So this is the first episode that we're pushing out in 2025.
Cool.
But thanks so much.
Yeah, thrilled. We'll try not to suck the room out of the whole show here.
Yeah.
So
No, we it was, you know, I made the way we all met was I just made a passing post on Facebook one day looking for anybody that could help us get the word out about the podcast, and Monica said, "Hey, I can do that."
Yeah.
And we came in to interview with you guys, and as we're doing that, Rick goes, "I kind of like what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
What if we put you on Radio Memphis?" Sure.
Right.
Please do that. So, yeah.
Well, you're in line with what we do.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
I mean, Radio Memphis and what you guys have here is, you know, on the same page on a lot of stuff. So,
Right.
you know, so it's a natural fit for us.
and different channels, different avenues, different ways to consume. You know, so it's
For sure, yeah.
together it makes for a great you know, spread. So, you know, obviously now you guys are going to be on our channels. You know, with this interview.
Sorry about that.
But but we've also made you a sponsor. You know, we're pushing your morning show
Yeah. I appreciate
every week.
Well, thank you.
You know, we need to cross pollinate,
Yes.
as I call it. But yeah, thanks for making the trek down to Hernando.
Yeah.
We're recording this on the 19th when it's like 5 degrees outside. So
Yeah.
And snowing.
Woke up
and
to
snowing.
snow. Yeah.
yeah. But appreciate you making the trip down here. I'm sure you guys would rather be home and warm.
Nah, had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, look, so much to cover. First, you know, radio-memphis.com. Again, in the intro that you've heard, we pushed that, but check that out. Check out that website. It's fascinating. It's full of a lot of different talent that do shows. And then you guys, I want to talk about all the music you push and how bands can get on there and get involved. And also just your stories, how it started. I'd love to tap into Rock 103 if you don't mind, Rick.
You can tap into it all you want to. It's not a thing anymore.
Right,
so, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But you were so heavily involved with it. I know,
Yeah.
you know, where I grew up in Maine, we had our rock station, that WBLM 102.9. That was our thing, right? And I didn't know that the meaning of Rock 103 until it went away.
Right.
Then I saw the chatter on Facebook, and but I know our audience, huge fans of that radio station. I saw them all like be sad about it. So to get some inside look would be cool at some point.
Sure,
too, you know?
sure. Yeah, I'm here to help.
But so tell us about Radio Memphis. When did it start?
July the 1st, 2011. I had to do the math there. So really, yeah. So 13 years of it is really how, you know, I've been with Radio Memphis right now as long, maybe a little bit longer than I was at 103.
Okay.
So when Clear Channel, when I got there, it was Clear Channel, and then it got sold over to Bain. Nobody knew who I was until I threw on the mask. You know, it was that kind of Bain. They went through and wanted to, you know, there were more bean counters than there were radio people.
Yeah.
You know, so they wanted to tap down on the talent, you know, keep us quiet, you know, keep playing the Kiss records, keep playing the Eagles.
Did it get more automated?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
They sent me to Denver, Colorado to go learn a new system, a new automated system at that time called Profit, with a PH, Profit, not as in money, but it's sort of the same idea. And they sent me in a room with a bunch of other people to learn this thing. They had radio people from all over the world, or all over the country that, you know, that were with Bain and Clear Channel at that time to learn this system. And their big deal was, well, this thing doesn't need human intervention ever. You're just a hood ornament.
Okay.
And so they're teaching the system to me, and I crashed it.
Well done, sir.
Good job.
They told,
eyes lit up when he said that.
Pride was
Yes.
there.
well, they told me that it couldn't be crashed, and
He said, "Oh, really?"
I'm up for that challenge.
and I sat there and I went, "Well, we'll see about that." And
believe this,
I had I had it do a search, you know, for an internal system search, but I confused it, and it just screwed everything up. And the people that were the engineers that were designing the whole thing, they got mad at me, and we ended the day, and they had to completely rebuild their back end on this whole thing so I could come back in and
screw it up again.
Well, I tried not to, and they were like, "Well, why did you do that?" And I said, You're underestimating the stupidity of most radio people. You really are.
You were a great tester for them.
Well, sure. We're either drunk or high or whatever the problem is, and they're going to do something dumb like that, and this is going to be a problem. So they fixed it, and I was there for, I guess, about 10 days. And long story short, when I got back to Memphis, all the other people that I was working with were like, "Well, what's it like?" And I said, "This is the death of the CD." I mean, I've been in this business long enough to see the rise and fall of the cart system, and of course, we were still playing some records at the time and turntables and all that. And I said, "The CD's dead. This is all a digital format." And this was not MP3. This was not WAV. This was MP3 MP2.
Okay, what's the difference?
Compression rates, but they did MP2 to keep the jocks from stealing the music.
You couldn't download it?
You couldn't download it.
Yeah.
We could upload to our heart's content, but we could never download it. And so their whole thing was, we got to protect our, because everybody's going to want the White Album again. And, that's.
Yeah. Well, Napster came in and just kind of took care of all that.
Napster came in there, and then that became an issue. And we could all see the writing on the wall where it was headed.
What year is this?
Oh, God. This was in, I started at 103 in 97. And I want to say this was about 01.
Okay. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Right at the turn, 2001, somewhere in there. Maybe in 99. I don't remember. Hell, I don't remember the Obama administration. But there was, it was a thing to try and tell these guys that, like, look, the art of segue is gone. It's all being handled by that thing.
Right.
It was.
Yeah. You say what you need to say, you hit a button, and then it plays the music and the ads and everything just right back to back to back to back for you.
Then it came down to, because I used to do a Saturday night show, and that would be taped on a Friday.
Yeah.
And we'd do this thing called voice tracking, where we'd go into the room and we'd have our list of what songs we're going to be playing. And so you knew when to come out of one tune, what was coming up. And so in about 20 minutes, you would track a 4-hour show.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the Stones. Here's the Eagles.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly how that worked. And, then they put clocks on you on how long you could talk, what you could do, all of that. And then when by the time I got into mornings or afternoon drive with Dennis Philippi and I remember. It was Dennis and Rick, and we did afternoons. We had a great time with it, and then they changed everything. And then I wound up going to go sit with Bad Dog in the mornings. And then they got upset. They got pissy about us taking longer than 3 minutes to tell a joke or whatever the case was.
Yeah, it sucked the personality out of radio.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point. Because
there was no way in hell Bad Dog was going to tell a joke in 3 minutes.
No, there's no way. No way.
I miss that dude every day, man. He was awesome.
He was a lot of fun to work with.
I bet.
And, but even then, it's like, there was this will put it in perspective. There was the boss came in and said, you guys need to be down to 3.5 minutes. And I said, okay, per break. They wanted so many records per hour.
Right.
So I went over to the dollar store and I bought a kitchen timer. It has a magnet on it. It sits on the refrigerator.
Right.
And I wound it up and I set it for 3 minutes and I set it on the board. And when the bell rang, I dumped out. I don't care where we were in the bit. It would be like this long, elaborate setup on a bit, and then it was like this thing would ding, and it was like, and it would go. Well, it got to the point where the boss came into the room and he goes, "Okay, you made your point."
Right.
You
can turn the timer off.
Turn the timer off. It's annoying as hell. Everybody else in the building thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's great.
And the listeners were sort of annoyed, but that happens.
I hope they got the joke.
They got the joke. Well, we explained it to them. They got it. They got it entirely. But they were like, wow, this is not as free form as it once was. And this was sort of the backbone behind Radio Memphis, is that we wanted to get back to what real radio was, what I grew up into, and how the way I came up into the business. It was the personalities were what drove the whole thing. The music was really almost secondary. I mean, they tuned in for those things, but they also wanted to hear. They wanted to hear the people.
Well, 103 had amazing personalities. To me, it's what made the station. And I spent most of my career in a car driving. Oh yeah. So I listened all day. Until usually until about 2 in the afternoon.
That's about right.
And it was great.
Well, you're talking about
I didn't tune into that station to listen to the music. Hell, all the music, you played the same shit over and over again.
Everybody had those albums.
My rock station I mentioned earlier, 102.9, is still playing the same 75 classic rock songs.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to hear the same 10
That's
Zeppelin
exactly what
songs.
it was. We did
over
I think it was 100 and a quarter. I think it was 125 songs. And I had asked these guys, so I got yelled at for playing Whole Lot of Rosie.
Really?
That's where Rosie got her name, by the way.
Yeah.
It's an homage to Rosie's is a sex doll.
We met Rosie.
Yeah.
We met Rosie. We can bring. I'm glad you brought that
You
up.
should have brought Rosie with you.
We're going to circle back to Rosie.
We'll go back to her in a little while. And I was tired of hearing Highway to Hell.
Right.
Which is a great tune.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like with every other AC/DC song, they're all in the same key. They all sound the same. It's the same tempo, whatever. Yeah. I just want to hear something different. Yeah. So I played a whole lot of Rosie, besides it has a bitchin' guitar solo in it. And I remember the boss coming and goes, "What is that?" And I said, "That's a whole lot of Rosie." And he goes, "I know that, but why are you doing it?" And I explained to him why, and then he got really upset. And there were 2 grown men in a locked office yelling at each other over a stupid AC/DC song. Wow. And there was a switch that flipped inside of me at that moment that has always stayed with me. It's like, this is the dumbest shit I have ever been involved in. Why are we having this discussion? And so that carried that with me when I left there.
So before we now bridge to Radio Memphis, Monica, now let's bring you in here.
Yeah.
We gotta watch Rick. He's a talker over here.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We don't have a timer.
No,
I can arrange that. We can have a timer.
Oh, that'd be awesome if we have. I'll put it on my phone.
She's important. Yes.
So what's your background? Did you have a radio history before Radio Memphis?
Not at all. I went to college for interior design. Was a stay-at-home mom for a while because I wanted to do that, and I found the local film scene. This is back in the days of MySpace, and I was hanging out on MySpace. I'd been married to a musician, so I was kind of in on the music scene.
We're sorry.
You guys had a massive house, didn't you?
So I mean, I loved the music scene, was in on it, used to write songs and stuff. But I found the film scene because there was a call for extras on MySpace for a local independent film, and so I inquired, I asked questions, and I showed up, and I had nailed the wardrobe better, because I took the time to ask questions. Right. And so I came up to the guy. I was like, "Are you the one I've been talking to?" And I was like, "Is this 1984 enough?" And because we were doing a parody scene of, it was a parody of Prince from Purple Rain when Morse Day and the Time and Prince's band were doing the Battle of the Bands. Okay. So it was a parody of that scene. So I was dressed, I had an authentic 1984 zebra dress on. Nice. My boots were from 1984.
Sexy.
I nailed it so much that he was like, "All right, you get to be the parody of Apollonia." Okay. So nice. I got this featured part, and just throughout the whole night of being there and just being like, "Wow, you guys do this?" This is, and I got introduced to the local independent scene. Yeah. And I fell in love with it, and I just hustled my way in. And that movie that I got to do, it actually went on to win Indie Memphis Hometowner that year. And so I was like, I really want to be a part of this. So I just started hustling my way in and met all these actors and stuff. Nothing to do with radio at all. And I've been on the film scene now for 20 years.
Still in it?
Yeah.
Still doing it?
Yeah, I did 3 projects last year.
I used to live on Cleveland and Carr, just outside of Central Gardens, and twice Hallmark was in Central Gardens doing movies, and it was a trip to see. Just see all the the movie trucks, and,
Yeah.
and I guess people would just kind of rent their house out.
Yeah.
They'd go on vacation somewhere for a couple
Yeah,
weeks.
it's better to send the family away.
For sure, I would gather.
I mean, yeah.
Don't touch that.
Because like I have filmed, like at first I started off acting, but then I had an opportunity to work production, and I was like, oh wow, I really love this aspect of it. Even more than being in front of the camera, I really loved behind the camera, and I saw where logistic skills and things come into play, and my OCD logistic brain was in love. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to hustle my way in on this angle. And so I started doing a lot of crew work, and we had a really heavy film scene here, like in the 90s, like late 80s, and all throughout the 90s, the tax incentive that Memphis offered. Warner Brothers had an office here, Paramount, like they had, I mean, there's an old concrete building downtown that was the hub.
On South Main, yeah.
Yeah, it was a hub. So all the film reels, when all the movies were on reel, they were sent to that place, and then they were distributed out to the movie theaters from there.
Did not know that.
And so I actually was in college for interior design in 1997, and these people just started walking the hallway outside, and I was in my history of furniture's class, and these guys just walk in and ask get our professor to stop and go out, and we're all like, what'd y'all do? Who did something? Who are these people? They had like lanyards on, and it was just really a trip. And so then our professor comes back in and says, these people are going, if they point to you, go outside and talk to them. And I was like, oh, hell no, I didn't do nothing. I am just taking notes. This was a real note intensive class. And I was like, nope. And they're like, ma'am. And I was like, oh, shit, man, I'm going to miss notes because this guy isn't going to stop while we're out talking. And so anyway, me and two other girls from the class, they pulled us out, and they were casting agents for The Rainmaker. John Grisham's The Rainmaker. Oh, nice. And so that's when I discovered, that was my first, that was my first experience. Like, that's a major motion picture. I was like, wow, they do this here. So I got called, and I got to be an extra. They wanted us to read for an actual part. In the book, John Grisham's book, Matt Damon's character actually had a paralegal. But and that's the part they wanted us to read for. They were supposed to call us, and we were supposed to go in and read. And I was just like, oh, wow, my God, I can't believe this happened. Well, then I just get a call to show up and be an extra at that movie theater scene. If you've seen the movie, it's when Claire Danes and Matt Damon sneak off to meet each other at this movie.
Now I got to watch it.
Yeah.
I got to spot you. There she is.
Well, don't blink. You'll miss the back of my head. Exactly. No doubt. That's what it was. I was there 16 hours, got to meet Francis Ford Coppola.
Wow. Nice.
Claire Danes about knocked me down. She was late, and I'm going out, and she's coming in, and just bam, and I'm like, damn, bitch. Oh my God, that was Claire Danes.
Damn, bitch.
Oh my God. And I loved Claire Danes at the time, and I got to see Danny DeVito, and I didn't know who Matt Damon was, and all these girls are next to me like, you don't know who Matt Damon is? He's right there. Oh my God, he's right there. And I was like, who are y'all talking about? That guy that a little bit taller than Danny DeVito guy standing down at the end of the hall.
Is he a short fellow?
Yeah,
I wouldn't notice.
He's much shorter than he looks on screen. And so, yeah, that was a really cool experience, and I was just like, how do I do more of this? But they were like, oh, don't worry, we have your picture now anytime something comes through. But around that time, shortly after, is when Memphis took their tax incentive away. So all the major players that had offices here, they packed up and went back to Hollywood.
Yeah. New Orleans is a spot now, right?
Yeah, so fast forward a bit.
Well, there's an incentive for them to come back now.
Well, they've seen
Hollywood kind of burnt down.
Yeah, that's probably too soon. Too soon.
Sorry.
But I mean, not wrong, but so they packed up and went home, and that's when, fast forward to seeing that on MySpace, and I discovered that those people were the ones that were left behind. The film student, the people that went to the U of M for film, they were all the ones that were left behind, and like they didn't take anybody with them. They didn't say, hey, we love working with y'all. Y'all come out to LA. They were like, no, we got to go back to LA. LA's full of people to work production, full of actors. They didn't need to bring it in unless those people could afford to pick up and move and hope they could get, brought on out there. Then they were just here. So they they kind of built up the independent film scene. They didn't want to quit doing what they were doing, and they realized we're going to have to start doing this ourselves. Yeah. So that's when I found that production. I met all these people, and then I eventually worked myself into getting in crew and fell in love with that. And see, I didn't go to school like the rest of them. I had to hustle my way in. And
you learned on the go.
I learned
hands-on.
Hands-on experience.
I just revisited a film, Live Animals.
Yeah, I was in Live
I didn't
Animals.
watch it again. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's on Tubi.
Yeah.
If you're hit the Tubi, tubi.tv, I think is what it is. But Live Animals, and she's the cover art for the poster.
The cover art for international distribution. It was to.
I had no idea we were
hobnobbing
with greatness.
Damn, I know. Right?
Yeah, I know. That was right. That was my that was my first part, like named part. Like before I was junkie number 2, right. Stuff like that. But like this was my first actual like character was in that movie.
Cool.
And I got in with those people. So yeah, just
Can you help get Derrick and I on Tubi?
Maybe.
Awesome. I'd love to be on Tubi.
Maybe.
Dream come true.
Yeah,
Tubi is cool.
Yeah,
it is cool.
Tubi is really cool.
I spend hours just searching through shit. I don't ever watch anything.
There's a lot of stuff.
I'll have to check out Tubi.
Yeah. You'll spend an hour trying to figure out what you're going to watch.
Yeah. I do that with Netflix. I do that with everything. But
it was through the actors, though, that I discovered the station. Having an actor friend in common with Rick. She it was a local actress here I'd worked with many times before. And we were friends. We had hung out outside of that, and she was moving to go help caregive with her mother, and I had been caregiving for my aunt, and so she was like, I helped her like pack up her house and stuff, and she's like, okay, I'm going to do this going away party. I'm like, cool, I'll be there. Tell me where it's at. And she's like, oh, it's at Radio Memphis. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, who?
What is that? And she was like, oh, it's this internet radio station that I'm real good friends with, and yeah, come on down. And I was like, all right. And she shoots me the address. That was going to be my next question, so it's perfect. I had no idea.
How did you guys meet?
Yeah, so that was it. I walked in. I show up to this building. There's people hanging out outside.
Was it the same building that it's at now?
Yeah. And so I ran into people immediately, and I was like, oh, my God, hey, here for Nora's party? Like, oh, my God, what is this? Like, I had no idea. What are we doing? They're like, yeah, she's down there. She's in the basement. Just go on down. And I was like, okay. And so I go in and go down the basement, and it's packed. She's got all kinds of people in that front room, and I was just like, oh wow, hi, I'm Monica. And through that glass I could see her on air with Rick, and I could hear his voice, and I was like, that voice sounds familiar, because I used to listen to Rock 103 all the time on my way to my classes. Sorry.
It was haunting.
Right. So so then she pulled me, like they went on a break, and I gave her a hug and stuff. There's band playing, and
it was the Fast Mothers of
that was it.
There you go. Shout out to the Fast Mothers.
Yeah. Then when they came back from break, she's like, no, come in here and sit with me. And I was like, oh my God, what? And she was like, yeah, so I sat in that one chair, and then she
got interviewed.
Yeah.
And I just found that not long ago.
So why? So
I interviewed her on the air. Yeah. That's how she got the job.
Okay. Were you looking just by chance?
I'm always looking for something. And she's, she weaseled her way in and has never left.
She calls it hustling. You call it weaseling.
Same thing,
Yeah, no, for sure. I found,
it's a good thing.
I saw what they were doing down there. And just like when I found the film scene, I was like, you know what? I would like to see what else I could do with all of this. Sure. I would like to see. And like he said, he just started asking me questions. I was like, I feel like this is a job interview. And so then he's like, he does what he did with y'all, come back anytime. We do shows down here. And so I found a way to just show up like during the Booze and Blues.
Okay, which is a live stream for bands performing, right?
That's on Sundays.
It's our blues show, every Sunday night, Booze and Blues. And so I showed up and I was like, okay, but I need to find a reason to stay, like what can I do for these people? And that's just the way my brain works. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, well, I was like, y'all got social media and stuff? And he's like, yeah, but we just, it's a lot of work. Social media is a lot of work. And he said, yeah, but we just don't really have anybody dedicated to it. And I said, well, hey, you know.
There's that hustling again.
Yep. And I was like, well, you know, I can come down here on like the Booze and Blues show on Sundays because I had help with my aunt. My mom would help me on Sundays and give me a break. And so, yeah, I was like, I can like take some pictures and like tag the station and stuff like that. And
About 2 weeks after she first showed up, Dwayne Cottle, drummer for various outfits.
Yeah.
He comes in to
And
play a
with
show.
his brother for years for the
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's right.
So Dwayne comes in, and he's getting ready to play with some other act that we had. And he takes his bag off and he sets it down by the door as you get into the control room. And he goes, "So who's the chicks working here for now?"
Yeah, because that was
Because
the
the
other
place
thing.
got clean.
Yeah, that was the other thing. My OCD logistical brain, I was like, oh well, I can.
It was like a locker room down
I
there.
can
for
wipe.
God's sake.
I can wipe this down. It just hadn't been dusted. It's in a basement, you know. And so I was like, well, let me just clean up. You got a vacuum cleaner? Do you mind
As
if
a
I
matter of fact,
run that?
we do.
Now you do.
So I did that, and I proved that the station was not being held together by dust bunnies. And
It was beautiful when we came down. It's a cool
yeah.
vibe. Really nice.
yeah, they let me rearrange some things, and I just did the same logistics I do for film. I just kind of did in that station.
And they're like, you are hired.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out
Yeah.
somehow.
Then I had the passwords for the social media
Next
accounts,
thing
and
you know,
it was
she's
on.
got keys to the building, and then, away we go.
Yeah.
So now we've landed in Radio Memphis here. But obviously, how long were you, Rick, doing this before meeting Monica? Like, were you at the beginning? Did you help launch Radio Memphis?
I built it.
So you are the founder.
It was being broadcast out of a back bedroom in my home in Cooper Young. And
Okay.
we outgrew it. Mm-hmm. And then the space that we're in.
This is 2011? Or when did this happen?
11 is when it started. So 2013, we wound up in the building that we're in now.
Okay.
So we're about 10 years into this building.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
That's
Yeah.
I can't remember all the time.
So you just was at your house,
Mhm.
and how did it start as far as building a website and making it what it is now, as far as how it can have that reach?
What I know about radio is that I know how not to do it. And that's important.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know all the ins and outs of radio. I don't know all the ins and outs of doing what I do. I just know how not to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's far more important, I think.
So you just jump in and trying something new.
Yeah, so I took a computer, which is still in the air. It was designed as some engineering work for like an actual structural engineering company. And I completely restructured it and rebuilt it and put an automation system in. The early library for Radio Memphis was music that was submitted to us when I had the Great Unsigned at Rock 103. They didn't want it, so I took it. And then that was our initial library.
And
you just grew it from there.
And you didn't have as many jocks, if you will, right? So it was just you, and
just
then
me, yeah.
you would be live at a certain time of day, and then after that, it was just
I did nights.
Music.
Yeah, I did mostly nights.
Okay.
I had to write out a 6-month non-compete.
Yeah.
Oh, when you left Rock 103?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
make
well,
DJs sign those.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Which
They
is
when they ran me out of there, they said, "Okay, you're off the air for 6 months," and it's a long and involved story. But I was back on the air within about 5, maybe 4. But I did have a couple of people that were working with me to help us out.
Yeah.
To kind of make sure all the kinks were working. I mean, I was streaming it in April of 2011 just as testing it. We didn't go public with it until July 1st.
Okay. And off and running. And
Off and running.
So when you say you outgrew that, why is it that you needed an actual space?
Could you get the Fast Mothers in this room right now?
Oh, I see. Yeah. See, now you're wanting to bring live music in. Right?
Oh, that was always a thing
Yeah.
with me because part of what radio I think is important is for people that want to get involved in a scene of some sort. They want to be around live music, or they want to be around the personalities. But they're so short-handed. I mean, they're short staffed because when I was on 103, they'd say, "Okay, you've got Gene Simmons, and you're going to have 6 minutes with him." And I'm like, no, I'd like to do like an hour or two.
Long form, yeah.
And so that's what we do at Radio Memphis. It was important for us.
Oh, we got to dump you, Rick. It's been 3 minutes.
I'm used to that. That's exactly what that goddamn thing sounded like, too.
That's funny.
I'm always an idiot. But yeah, I don't want to interrupt there. I just thought
No. That's a great joke. It's a great bit. I just started having some flashbacks. Yeah.
You're starting to twitch over there.
Right.
I still have that with the opening sax riff of Turn the Goddamn Page.
Yeah.
I could go the rest of my life without that, you know.
The sax.
Yes.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know what I'm talking about, Bob Seger?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my station in Maine. Yeah.
Yes.
You heard that song all day. I mean, Stairway to Heaven.
Well,
probably every
it may
2
have been
hours.
a Clear Channel station because I think we were sort of like the McDonald's of radio. You know, wherever you got it was the same thing wherever you went.
So you moved to the location you're at now,
Yeah.
which is on Poplar in East Memphis.
Mm-hmm. In its building, yeah.
And then you started growing from there, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Having
yeah.
more bands, bringing in more live
I
entertainment.
could really expand programming is what it came down to. And I'm still doing it, you know.
Yeah.
This is the thing too. And just having a space where bands could come in and just play and we could do it live. And that started with the blues show. And when Mark Caldwell from the Memphis Blues Society became a part of what we're doing, he's like, man, I can get you a band every week. So every Sunday night we have a live act.
Yep. And we were
without particular reason.
And we had a good time with y'all the night you had Fast Mothers.
Yeah.
Up. Was that a Sunday? No, that wasn't a Sunday. That was a.
That was a special, like a Wednesday night special or something
That's
like that.
what it was, yeah.
A weekly night
Yeah, they had
special.
their new record. Yeah,
The new record out. Yep.
It came from Memphis, I think was the name of the album. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And for some reason the automation had a circuit break.
Yeah.
And it just out of
That
nowhere
automation system
during a
has
commercial
a
break, it started
mind of
playing
its
me
own.
and Jeff's show.
Yeah, it
was
knew
funny.
y'all were there, and it was like, oh, check this out.
The bones from that system came out of the Czech Republic. And then I had to rewrite it and completely reprogram the whole thing. And it still has its little issues.
Sure. I mean, it's computer online.
Who wants to make its own life choice?
About 95% of the time, it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, but there's that few rare moment when it decides, screw you, I'm doing this, you know.
So before Monica, you had a morning show.
Mm-hmm.
And who was that with again?
I have initially, we started with various other people and they just kind of came and went. And then it just became a better idea that I take it over, kind of anchor the whole station with that morning show.
Gotcha.
And by mornings, I don't mean like what I used to do at 103. That was,
6 a.m. start.
shit.
Yeah.
And I had to be,
For real. Yeah.
it's hard to live like that. I'd be up at 4 o'clock. I'd get out of bed at 4 o'clock and start prepping and be at the studio by 5:30 and then be on the air by 6. And by 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm spent.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we decided is like with Radio Memphis, it should be in the 9 o'clock hour because we got the West Coast that really hits us hard. So that's their morning drive.
Yeah.
So San Francisco loves us and LA, what's left of it, loves us. And that has helped us out tremendously. And it makes us more of a midday show here in this area in the central time zone. And also to the point of the eastern time zone as well.
Yeah.
So it just made – and I don't want to get up at that early.
Yeah.
I'm a night person.
you're
I don't
building
want
it for
to either,
yourself.
but I do.
Yeah, he can't help
I can't
it.
sleep.
Yeah.
I'm up at 4 o'clock every day.
Oh, dude.
wow.
It sucks.
Sorry.
Nowadays, I get up at 4 o'clock to pee, and
Yeah.
then I go back
Right.
to bed.
Well, that's part of why I'm up. I get up to pee, can't go back to sleep.
1 a.m.,
Might as well have
3
coffee.
a.m., 5
Well,
a.m.
when you're up at 4
Damn.
o'clock because you have to be,
Yeah.
you lose.
Oh, yeah.
You lose your nighttime.
Yeah.
And there may be something I want to see on TV,
Right.
or there may be something I want to do. I may want to go somewhere, and then it becomes a lifestyle issue, and it can screw with your health. It really can.
So fast forward, Monica weasels her way in. Your word.
Yes.
Your
So weasels
word.
her way right on into the whole thing.
And as you do, Monica, you're hustling. You're trying, how can I help? You start
Right.
helping with social media and everything. What's the bridge, and how do we get it to where now it's Rick and Monica in the morning?
Well, he asked me, but again, the invitation to stop by during the week came.
Yeah.
You can come by here not just on Sundays.
Right.
Feel free to come by, during the day. And I said, well, that's going to be a little bit harder because, you know, when I met him, it was during the pandemic. I'm taking care of my special needs aunt. She had some major health problems after a hospital, you know, gave her the wrong medicine and messed her up. And so it was a little harder. We didn't have enough help. Nursing shortages weren't just in hospitals. They were in home health as well. And so I said, well, you know, I'll see what I can do. Plus, I was staying up all night, turning my aunt every 2 hours and, you know, getting a few hours of sleep. If I didn't have any help, I had to get right back up and do it all over again with her. She was on a schedule with feeding tube and you know, getting up and out of the bed and getting her back in and making sure she's turned and everything. And all kinds of medicine throughout the day. So it was a lot harder, but if I did have a nurse that came in or if my mother was there to help give me a break, then if I could get up before the show was over, that's basically what
wandering in, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what I tried to do. I tried to just make sure I was showed up at some point before the show was over if I had help. And I would just wave through the window and he'd be like, come on in.
Nice.
So I'd sit in that third chair and really just kind of watch him. And his co-host at the time was LJ.
LJ was with us at that time.
Yeah, he had done the morning show with you for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think something like that.
At that time.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of third chair, just kind of laughing at them like a live audience, basically.
Yeah.
And then I was like...
There's a joke out there in the radio shows. You get the laughing chick in the background.
Right, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me. And then I was like...
It wasn't by design, don't get me wrong.
Right, yeah. But then I was like, well, I could do some social media stuff like this too. Especially if I'm not talking, I can... And so I started recording some of their bits and putting them on social media. I think I was like, is it okay if I go live? Why not do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live? And so I started doing that periodically and just kind of feeling that out. But again, it wasn't anything set in stone because I couldn't. My aunt, we were in and out of hospitals during the pandemic. She definitely became a victim of the healthcare system, advocating for her, not taking care of myself right. Because that was a mess. And so it was just when I could, but and I just started sitting in on more. We had finally a nurse that was a little more consistent. But I remember she even became inconsistent again. And
it became a bit of an issue with you. I know you got frustrated because you wanted to be, with us. And I wanted her to have the ability to have that space as hers.
I needed to get away from what I was doing at home.
Yeah,
it really,
respite.
It really became the only respite I was getting, and I needed that mental break.
And as silly and as effed up as we all are, it worked out perfectly. And because LJ wound up, he wound up taking another job,
right?
And he split, and it left me by myself. My first thought was, well, if Monica can do it,
right?
Sure. I'd be more than happy to sit there with her, and and now. You've a year and a half now? 2 years?
It's been 2 years.
2 years. It was in January, wasn't it?
But a year and a half on the morning show.
Yeah.
Because I spent the first 6 months just able to come in on the Booze and Blues and maybe stop by during the day once in a while to listen.
And we've expanded some with the morning show to the point where she's doing more and more bits. Some of the what we call the benchmark bits. At certain times we have certain things.
You get news from the stupid, that guy, this guy, crime time.
Yeah. So she does crime time and science news now.
Yeah.
And then plus her commentary on top of everything else that we bring out there. That works out beautifully.
So when did you finally officially become partners with Ric in the morning?
I sat in with you and LJ for a little bit, and I want to say he left in the fall.
It was September, October, somewhere in there.
Of 23. Yeah, and so I was like, well, I can be here as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I really felt the burning both ends. I felt that I started to wonder if I was going to be able to persevere because things were amping up with my aunt. Here we go back to another hospital. Here I am with no day help, and the not getting enough sleep. That wound up really hurting me health wise. So I did. I just kept showing up as much as I could because he said the show wasn't the same by himself, and I had and all of that time too. I had formed a following. All that social media work I was doing, I wound up finding a good group of people on Twitter of all places, and kind of formed this tribe. And I mean, if I was running a little late, the Twitter tribe was blowing up my phone. Where are you? He's on
We're
the
listening
air.
to Radio Memphis. He's by himself. He sounds so horrible.
He's by himself. He looks really sad.
Could
Where
you
are
please
you?
show up?
So I would be like, okay.
So she
guys.
brought an audience with her, and I was
Yeah.
like, hello, check that box off. That's great,
Sure,
man. We
Yeah.
can always use that.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
can't carry it, so, without her, there wouldn't be much of a morning show.
Yeah, and then my aunt passed away February of 24, and he thought like, okay, well, just take some time, and I was like, nope, I need to come in.
Yeah.
That would be the best thing for my mental stability right now is the show must go on. So let's keep going.
Well, sorry for your loss,
Thank you.
but I'm sure when you finally see your loved one not suffer anymore.
Yes,
that's a huge thing.
It is. It's a very huge thing because there was no coming back from what happened to her. So at that point, it was like, please just have mercy on her and take her pain.
Then you had Radio Memphis and Ric Chetter to give
To
you
help
this
with my
playground.
pain, yeah.
And
Well, it really helped, not just helping me out for the station. As we were talking about, was it yesterday on the air? I said, I work better under management.
Yeah, he
And
does.
so she's kind of become my manager, which is great. She's going to general manage the whole kind of thing.
you kind of keep the schedule and the calendar going.
Try
and-
to, and then I do like what I did with you guys.
Well, I was going to say, she brought you us.
I peruse.
She hand delivered this shit show to your show.
And it works beautifully. It really does.
Yeah, no,
I
I asked him, I said, because that's the thing about me, even when I was just back on the music scene, like even before I was married to a musician, and then when I was married to a musician, it's like, how can I support this scene? This scene is just phenomenal, and it's amazing, and it's full of so much talent, and you can see where there's not support from the outside. It's like if the community doesn't support itself, who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
So I realized that being at the station gave me a platform to do that. And when I got into film, I did the same thing. I was on MySpace promoting people's films.
I remember
and
MySpace.
and doing stuff like that. And then I move over to Facebook and we start film groups. And I love to support this scene. Because our city, they took all the tax incentives away. They cut the arts.
Right.
And that includes music.
Well, it's one of the things, and she touches on this, in that Memphis in the Mid-South has a rich history, and that was really sort of the basis behind Radio Memphis, and to give these musicians a chance, get some airplay, get somebody outside of Memphis to hear you, get an incentive to make a record, get out on the road, do whatever it is you got to do. It's a shit show for musicians in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get your stuff played on the over-the-air stations. I mean,
There's no one left.
like 93X, I was friends with them when I was in a band, and Beck, she's the only one. At midnight, she would play locals only. One band, one song. That was it. And
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to do any help with that.
Well, I'd say the
Right.
Great Unsigned came as a result of that over at 103.
Yeah.
But that was only like 2 or 3 years. And then they finally sat me down and said, we can't do anything with this. And I said, what do you mean you can't do anything with this? Corporate said this. And they said, well, we can't make any money off of it. And I said, that's not about that.
Right.
It's an hour-long show. Take the spots out of it,
Right.
You can sponsor the whole, you could probably find like Malco or somebody to say, we'll give you money to keep that show on the air.
Yeah.
And there were people that did, but there's a whole nother story about all that.
The corporate, they just want their ad spots and
Corporate don't care.
Yeah.
Corporate don't care at all.
But I saw the radio station. I was like, wow, this is a really neat opportunity for people to actually get seen and get heard. And when I found out that that's all he plays is, local, independent, or local to the area, or people coming through the area, some kind of tie to the area. So then I was like, well, hey, do you mind if I bring some people in? Can I recommend somebody for a guest? And that's when I start
She's bringing
perusing the wall on
filmmakers in
Facebook.
and comedians and
podcasters.
podcasters, you losers, whatever.
That's right.
Idiots.
Whatever works, whatever fills that gap in the scene, because corporate has come in and has completely fucked everything up. Pardon my language, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
See, good point.
I mean, even 98.1, they have, Ross came up with this thing called The Stump, but that's still not something they air. They can't air it. You have to actually go to another outlet. He can advertise for it on 98, but they can't air it and can't play it. And so, like, I don't know. I just felt like here's an opportunity and a platform that could be really good for a lot of people. And then I found out that a lot of my people, because the circles on the art scene here, they overlap all the time. Some people on my crew are people I saw in a band last week. We're all musicians. We're all artists of many mediums. And so that overlap, I found out that a lot of people, oh, yeah, I know about Radio Memphis. And I was like, y'all knew about Radio Memphis? And like, yeah, we've even been down there, like some of my filmmaker people. And I'm just like, I had never heard of this place. I didn't know that this place existed.
It has that issue.
It has that issue.
It's an issue.
It's literally underground.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Literally.
There's no sign from the outside. Like
they won't let us hang a sign.
You pass by it all the time and you don't know that it's there. So like
it used to be so much.
I just started doing my social media stuff, and then I would see people post stuff like Jeff did, and I'm like, hey, so you want to come and be on the show?
And we were like, hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And then I heard what you guys were doing. It's like, well, it's right in line with what we're doing. So why don't we take your spin on it and get you a show with us? And
awesome.
and it's worked out.
Yeah, you interviewed us on the air just like you did Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. You're part of the staff now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to come back.
Anytime we got something going on, come on down. It's an open door.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, like you invited us for the Fast Mother's Night.
Yeah.
That was a great time. And you've sent out invitations too. Hey, just letting you know. Yeah. Sometimes we just
it's not technically open to the public, but it's by invitation.
Sure, yeah.
That the ADA would have problems with it because of those stairs.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing with the lanyard and we've got those. You got to have that to be able
VIP access.
Right.
We used to have the same thing when I first started Radio Memphis because I was so used. I was conditioned,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By corporate radio.
Oh yeah.
So how does Jeff, you going?
I was just going to say, do you want to talk about the live music hour and the submission form?
Yeah, like how do bands get involved and how do they get a spot on the show?
A few ways. The most popular way is to go to our website.
Yeah, you have a submission page.
It's at the bottom of the page.
Yep.
Yeah, and you fill that out and send over your MP3.
Okay.
We have a few rules that you got to follow. Original material.
Yeah.
You want to record it properly.
Right.
Don't do it on your phone.
Right.
We get a lot of those. And don't suck. Those are the three rules. And the third rule gets me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I can usually tell when.
That obviously doesn't apply to podcasters.
Well, not yet. You guys may be leading the way. Actually, a couple of other shows I can think of, but there's.
I can guarantee you, if you had us knuckleheads try to write a song, we would not be on your air.
I can usually tell when a song blows is that I'll get it like 7 times, 8 times. Or I'll get like yesterday, I got like 5 phone calls from the same cat. Hey, I just emailed it. What'd you think? What'd you think? What'd you think? I'm like, it's got to go to a committee.
Right.
We got to find the suck factor here.
Yeah.
The suck factor.
Yeah.
Maybe we should play them on this show first.
And it'll ultimately wind up on Radio Memphis anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't have to worry about licensing issues on YouTube if they suck really bad.
Oh, that's a whole other thing. But the deal with that original music is that once that comes through, and they may reach out to Monica, or they may reach out to me, or they say, hey, can I send you my stuff? And I'll say, yeah, send it to me. We'll take a listen to it. We'll often listen to it together,
right?
See what we think. And if there's something really special there, we'll say, hey, let's come into the room, bring the band. Let's do like a Tuesday night thing. Let's do a Wednesday night thing. Let's do something and make it work and see what it sounds like live. And let's just, play around on the air for a minute and see what can come out of this.
Yeah, at first it was, I feel like it was just submissions or maybe word of mouth and who people knew. But now that I've done a lot of social media work and I'm finding people, I found you guys. So that's another way is if I find somebody, or now people, they've seen my post and they know that I'm there. And so now some of them have actually reached out personally to me, bypassing any submission thing. So there's a couple of ways, that people can be on the show. reach out to one of us on social media or go to that website and fill out that submission form. And some of the latest music, like I have a friend that owns a recording studio, and he started doing a podcast, Weapons of Mass Production.
Yeah, we know.
And
Mike Babb, he follows you guys, follows this show on Tuesday nights.
And I've met Mike because he does a lot of the producing for Elevation Memphis.
Yeah. See, so when I saw his first thing, it was his first show, I was like, hey, those Elevation Memphis, we just played them the other day. I was like, I feel like we have the same music and musicians, except you're recording them and producing them. And so I was like, if you get their permission and they want it to be heard and played, just email us some music. So then he did that.
And then oftentimes on Thursday nights, the Radio Memphis Live Music Hour with Tundria and Gerald, they'll often bring in a band, and
they're 3 hours. They're 3 hours, and they have multiple artists of all different mediums. I've seen my film people on there talking to them, and then the next hour. If they're from 7 to 10, so they do something each hour, and then here's a band that's in. And so sometimes, like when people have asked me about the show, like how can I get on the station if they're not in a band or something? If I feel like it's a good fit for what Tundria and George are doing, I'll say, hey, reach out to Miss Tundria because she has a 3-hour show. Cool. And so
So you're acting as the glue. You're connecting. You're the connector. And it's awesome.
Well, it goes back to the way she was talking about too. Is that we've all got to support ourselves.
Yeah.
In this industry, there's no enemies.
Yeah,
right.
You can't. I mean, there's assholes that we work with.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
Tell me about it.
I don't get that click up and
right over his head.
I don't get that click up and.
I wasn't listening. Sorry, I'm trying to listen to her. What did you say about me?
He said working with assholes. I said, tell me about it. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I can't.
Straight over my head.
I can't stand that click up and compete. You know that doesn't. Where does that get us as a community?
And we learned because of this show, how we've now been ingrained in accepted, invited into our local music community, and through the interviews and going out to gigs and just getting to know these people, that they all help each other.
Yeah.
They're all very supportive of
Last
each other.
summer, we were invited by another radio personality to be on their radio show, Monica and I. And we're like, yeah, sure. We even had the dates penciled in. Everything was great. And he goes, listen, I got to clear it with a couple of people, and then everything should be fine and everything will be great. And then there was radio silence.
Yeah, management wouldn't let them do it.
Management wouldn't have said, well, no, Radio Memphis competes with this FM station. It's like, no, we don't.
Right.
You don't have our audience.
Right. We don't want those internet people in here.
And there's a weird kind of thing about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, if anything, we're here to help you out.
Right.
Y'all can kiss my ass. And then that was the end of it.
There's ways to share the sandbox.
Oh,
right.
Oh, sure. The pie's big enough. And, I've always approached this with never being greedy.
Right.
There's always ways that, you can. It's tough. Look, advertisement is a tough game. It is basically dead.
Right.
It is, it's having so you have to find other ways to do that. And I'm working on some other.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring up the monetization of this. Me and Jeff are starting to get monetized more and more. We have wonderful bands sponsor us. Now we're getting into other things for podcasting, but you guys have an infrastructure. You guys, have to be monetized in some way. I'm not trying to dig into your business, but is there people out there that you'd like to throw out there too that could help? Do you bring in sponsors? Do you get
we
corporate
sell
sponsors?
a lot of drugs.
Sell drugs. All right. Great answer. Enough said. Enough said.
That's what really happens in the office.
I've got a 20 spot if that would help. But like how is it fueled and what kind of
I went into
with?
this thinking that advertisement would be fairly simple because I was at 103,
right,
and we helped drive a lot of that by being in various places and working with certain clientele and things like that.
Building relationships.
Yeah. And when you go on the internet, people freak out.
Yeah.
You'll hear from people that actually will say things like, well, I don't have the internet on my phone. I just have Facebook. I'm like, you dumbass.
Well, then you have the internet. Yeah.
I mean,
so
you got to play it again.
People are really fucking stupid.
There's so much to compete with out there like that.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and mention it here. I haven't done it on the other show, but we're going into a nonprofit status.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't been making any profit for 10 years,
Yeah.
But the actual technical terming of it, the 501c3.
So is this way you can get grants?
Yep.
Yes.
And we can get some grant money. We've got several programs that are tied into it. I'm not going to elaborate on that just yet.
Right.
But as far as the radio station is one of them. So we can get operation grants to get our people paid and get equipment and the things that we might need to keep it going, pay the rent. That's always a big thing. I mean, I, like everybody else, I have another job outside of what I do. I mean, I work as an audiobook narrator for Audible and some other places.
Nice.
So it's catch as catch can with that. So that money goes to, pay the bills. So if we can expand it into what we do with Radio Memphis, then why not? Puts us on a different platform, and that way I can get rid of those stupid ads.
Yeah,
because
it was just getting hard anyway. Because like the economy, and then you're asking mom and pops to invest in an internet radio station, and they're not. They're like, I've never heard of you, even though that they've been there. Like the music scene's heard of us, all the artists have heard of us.
You got to find the ones that want to support first,
right?
Yeah.
And
That's tough.
that was becoming very, very hard. And we're running the same ads, all the time. And so
these ads that we run now are called per inquiry ads.
Okay.
So if you call this phone number they throw out at you, and you're on the phone for at least 30 seconds, then we get a piece of the action.
Right. Yeah, like promo codes are big in podcasting.
Promo codes, and it's all this is. So they don't pay in advance, and so you're just running them, hoping it's like fishing. You're just sticking it out there. Hopefully, when we first started running this, I was getting all
much like
sorts of money.
musicians get paid from Pandora.
right.
Yeah,
Shekels.
Pandora.
Pennies.
When we first started these per inquiry ads, we were getting actually quite a bit of money out of it, and then it just stopped. It stopped completely, and then one of the companies I work with was like, "Dude, you're making us money."
Yeah.
End of story. Shit rolls downhill apparently, and so they've kept it that way. And I was getting paid for ads that we didn't even run. So all of that has got to go. It's got to go away. We run it now as sort of a filler, but I'm gonna kill it all.
Yeah, you
and
can
then
go commercial free.
We're gonna go commercial free, aside from what would be like a sponsorship type thing. So because occasionally we do run into people that do care for us and pay for certain things Michael Bollinger over there at BPAC. He's a good friend and great supporter, and he helps us out when he can. And he's also a 501c3 and runs a great theater. And always thinks about us when we have certain things. Monica got to meet her crush, Tom Wopat.
Not my crush, but it was really cool.
It was cool. Yeah, we get to meet a lot of people.
Yeah, I grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard with
me
my
too.
dad.
But in
that
all
was really
seriousness, he'll throw us a little bit every now and then. But
Nice.
So I don't mind taking a certain part of our time and say, hey, let's thank our sponsors.
Sure.
And especially once we get like some grant money in, then we can say, hey, our longtime investors in this would be like somebody like FedEx Cares or Nike or whomever. I'm just throwing names out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I just kind of pitched the whole 501c3 thing because it also gives us even a more opportunity to help people, not just by putting them on the air, but like we can now offer grants to help get them recorded.
Nice.
It's hard being an independent artist, and everything costs money.
Yeah.
It's nearly impossible.
Right. So I just figured, the 501c3 would not only help the station to keep operating, to in turn help people, but also you can offer grants and programs to people to help
we have
them.
a recording studio, so why not?
Yeah.
And then we can get somebody that'll pay for an engineer or whomever.
Yeah, it will help you grow, which then helps the people you're helping grow.
And the kid comes out of there with a couple of tunes. He's got a couple of gigs now. He's brand new. He doesn't know what to do. And next thing you know, he's going to come back and he's got some money. He's going to buy a record from you. That kind of thing.
I've always equated it to shining a spotlight. The more fuel and electricity you add to it, whatever, it makes it brighter.
Right.
So supporting us supports you or supports this group over here.
Definitely.
And I have a lot of experience working in nonprofits here in Hernando. And yeah, when you are a nonprofit, people tend to line up to help.
Yeah.
It shifts the mindset.
We're in the process now of waiting on the IRS to
To
shit or
approve
get off the pot.
Yeah.
We've had the paperwork filed since the end of August.
Right.
They're
Really?
taking
Yeah.
their time
And-
with it. Haven't heard back yet.
And with the things that are going to be coming up soon with the new administration, all that, there's talk that they're going to cut some of those programs. And, so we're a little more conscious about how all that's going to work or what it's not going to work. And every time I've mentioned this to other people, they're like what you were saying. We're willing to work with a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not just going to work with some hump that's in a basement somewhere in East Memphis.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a story behind it. It's
Yeah.
like a nonprofit, and because we're helping this group of people, community,
Right.
movement,
they're
whatever
willing
it
to-
is.
You know, we have a food bank we operate, so you know
You can do a lot of fundraisers.
we can, and right now we can't. I mean, it's just all just out of generosity from people that are like they don't want anything in return. So here's a couple of bucks. We have a jar in the room. It's a tip jar, but that goes to paying for food.
Right.
You know.
And paying Rosie.
Oh, we must
That
talk.
slut.
So
Yes.
we have that's
We got to talk about Rosie.
Yeah.
so yeah, Rosie is a blow up doll
Yes.
hanging out in your studio.
She hangs on our wall. Yeah.
We went from nonprofit to blow up doll.
I know.
That's right. That's how we
It's,
roll here. That's how we roll.
Oh, yeah!
But so tell us about Rosie. How does this start? It had to have been some kind of inside joke. That's how these things start, right?
It started at Rock 103.
Oh,
There you go.
I thought you were going to say it was tied to the Fast Mothers, but
No, it's
It's tied up against Chris.
Rosie was acquired by Bad Dog
all right.
from a sex shop.
Okay.
She came in a folder. We had to blow her up. We were shooting a television ad, which never aired.
I cannot
Imagine
figure out
that.
why.
I know.
It was set during our irreverence phase. I don't know if you remember any of that, but John and I were wearing collars, priest collars,
I do remember that.
and we shot a spot where the two of us are in a in a confessional, and there's a line of people coming to speak to us, and John's eating a sandwich as long as my arm. I'm drinking whiskey from this bottle. There's all sorts of scenes like that, and Rosie shows up under the arm of some woman who's dressed like a babushka type of broad,
Babushka.
and she brings Rosie in there, and then so we end the spot ends with our producer brother Doug sticking his hands in the holy water font to wash his face.
I think I'm going
And
to say
he's-
something else.
Yes, you do.
It's for television now. And he's struck by lightning. Well, at any rate, the spot is sent to every television outlet in this area. And every one of them said, not just no, but hell no.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And it ran on YouTube for a while, and then Rock 103 pulled it off of there because I wished I still had it, and I don't have a copy of it. But Rosie, at the end of the shoot, wound up in Tim Spencer's office. Remember Tim? Okay, he was my boss.
Yep.
And finally, he had enough of her. And he
I'm done with this woman.
He threw her out into the hallway.
Right.
And I happened to be walking by there, and there she was laying there just like some derelict. I said, "What? You got a problem with the doll?" And he goes, "Get this fucking thing out of here before I take a knife to her."
Whoa.
I know.
So I put her in my car,
All right.
drove her home. And then shortly thereafter that, I was canned. And then I was like, well, this is a perfect.
Did you put her in the passenger seat with
I
the
did.
seatbelt on?
I did, and that's how I got through the HOV lane through town for a while. And so she became a part of what we were doing here.
And when
That's great.
Was the name there the whole time? Rosie?
No, I came up with Rosie because of that whole conversation I had with Tim about Rosie and
Whole lot of Rosie?
a whole lot of Rosie and how it helped.
That's right. That's right.
That's
right.
how it all came together for us. So
now she's up there
it's
on
sort
the
of kind of a
wall.
life lesson. And when Rock 103 was fooling around with automated voices, which is a thing, they were using text-to-speech generators to come up with, their bits so they can take jocks completely out.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave her her own show at Radio Memphis for about a month. And it was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
All those advertisers were just rolling in.
No. I did it to poke fun at corporate, and it was just kind of a pain in the ass to do. So I just killed it.
We need a couple of pictures of Rosie, if
Yes,
you
we
don't
do.
mind.
Yeah, so we'll put it on the show.
Yeah, Derrick will throw those up for people to see.
I'll have to get you some pictures of her.
I might have to do something
Every
on YouTube.
time somebody
There's a-
comes in, they feel her up. There's always people that want to do selfies with her. It's a trip.
Yeah.
We should have done that.
Well, maybe
Come back,
Maybe I did when no one was in there. I'm just saying.
And the only reason why she's wearing a shirt is because there was a troop of Boy Scouts that came through for a tour once. And I got an advance word, and I was like, no, she can't be naked. She's
No.
going to have to wear something.
Right.
Oh, you didn't take her down. You just dressed her.
Yeah.
So it's still a blow-up doll on the wall.
She's got clothes on.
Classy.
She's got a mustache. She's got a party favor.
I gave
hanging
her a
over her mouth.
mustache. Yeah. When shortly after I started working there, one of our Twatter tribe, as I call it, one of our listeners that I picked up on Twitter, she was always big with her profile pictures of having a mustache on her. So I was like, I'm going to make mustaches for Megs. And so that's why if you come to the station and see anything that has a paper mustache on it, I made that mustache and I put it on there. And
Got it.
I just did that for her. I'm not sure if it was Meg's birthday or something.
I don't know what it was.
But I was celebrating mustaches and I gave Rosie a mustache.
She's wearing Mardi Gras beads and
Yeah.
and lanyard. Every lanyard that I've ever had to deal with her hanging around her neck. Not Meg's, but Rosie.
Right, yeah.
And she's wearing panties from Pangea.
Yeah.
Ah.
Her ass has been signed by somebody.
Well, Kevin Greenberg.
I was going to say, you know about this?
Kevin Greenberg was in Pangea, and we have discussed Pangea panties. And Gen
Well,
X.
she's wearing them. They're still
Okay.
there's still a thing over there. And she's got a Rock 103. She's got a Radio Memphis shirt on.
Jeff
Yeah.
pops in like I'm so familiar with that.
I've heard this story before.
Have a pair, do you?
Yeah.
Well, goodness gracious, we could talk forever with you all.
We wanted to get Gen X panties made up.
Yeah.
And it says X marks the spot on the front of them. But so far it hasn't.
Adam's Dashes did it.
Knowing you guys would be Speedos.
We were going to have Radio Memphis condoms at one point with a pirate on the front of it.
Oh, dear God.
And a friend of mine who's in the legal business,
One-eyed Willie.
He's like, no, we're not going to do this. And I said, what do you mean we're not? He goes, because if the condom fails and a kid comes out of this, you're going to pay child support. I'm like,
Yeah.
no condoms. No.
Right.
Well,
We're not going
thanks
to
on
be
that.
handing out condoms.
We do get condoms from various organizations that bring them into our love bucket.
Yeah.
Rick was like, I'm already paying child support to enough people. No more.
No, I'm not paying anything to anybody. No. So I don't have any kids that I'm aware of. So, there's
Good to know.
Yeah.
there is that.
When you walk in there's so much to look at.
Yeah.
There really is. And it's in a museum kind of way, too. There's a lot of history in there, a lot of old pictures. And,
Yeah, it was Charlie
Just-
Rich's recording studio,
Yeah.
Silver Fox Records.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that in there. It's a fun place. So, if you're a band out there interested, go to radio-memphis.com and fill out that form. Build a relationship. It's all about relationships.
Yeah, I mean it really is. I mean that's what I do. When I'm doing my social media network, that's what I look at it as. It's like I'm building relationships.
Absolutely.
I mean I got to know these people on Twitter. They're my computer friends, you know. And they, and it is a friendship. You do build bonds,
absolutely.
You make these relationships.
Yeah.
Well, wow. The time has come. Oh,
Careful. Did you say
I forgot to set the new 3 minutes
Okay.
on the timer.
Well.
Thank you guys for having us on.
Yeah,
Oh man,
thank you
that's
so
so
much
much
for doing
fun.
It was a lot of fun.
We wanna do it again sometime. There's so much to talk about.
Please
and
do.
bullshit about. And hey, anytime that you want us knuckleheads on the show, you just let us know. We will pop in.
I think we would fit in really good doing news from the stupid.
Well, come
That's
on
an
down.
all-show thing.
I wish we could have tapped more into your segments and your morning show, but hey, every Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
9:30 to 2 p.m. Central, radio-memphis.com in the morning
Yeah.
with Rick and Monica.
Yes.
It's a fun show, and you guys are very giving, and it's all about the support of the community. And like you said to us, Rick, we'll say it to you guys. We appreciate what you do, and it falls in line with us as well. So
Yeah.
this
Thank you
is
very much.
I appreciate the partnership and you guys bringing us in like you have.
Whatever we can do to help you guys out, just let us know.
Likewise.
Our door is always open anytime you guys want to come in. We'd love to have
Absolutely.
you.
Sweet.
And we will definitely make more appearances to see you
Yeah.
guys and check out live music in your cave.
Yeah,
and
it's fun.
That was
Please
a lot of
do.
fun. And
Come on.
I need my picture taken with Rosie.
And-
Yeah.
Exactly. And if our podcast randomly pops up again, maybe there was some fingers. Maybe I snuck in there. Just
You might have had. I don't know. You might have had. We'll let it run.
I think it was
It'll-
Rosie. I think
could have
Rosie
been.
jumped
Blame
in
it
there.
on Rosie.
All those ghosts that are down there too. So.
Go to the rhythmsectionpod.com too while you're at it. There
Yep.
you can find all of our links. We got Instagram and Facebook. Thank God I didn't start a TikTok. I was actually thinking about it.
It'll be
and-
back.
And Apple, Spotify, YouTube links, all our archive, every episode that we've ever pushed out there is on the website. And then big thanks to Big Note Music Lessons, bignotemusiclessons.com for letting us, share the space with us to have this room. And then every Sunday, as you know, we have the replay series, old episodes popping up. which episodes have been going out in Radio Memphis during our off season. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the good places where you can find that as well.
Yeah, and the tip bucket links in descriptions, and you can search the Rhythm Section Pod on both Venmo and Cash App. In the morning with Rick and Monica.
Yeah.
Check these guys out Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 2 p.m. Central on RadioMemphis.com.
Memphis.com.
Sorry, Radio-Memphis. That matters.
Dash is important.
You guys are in the
The dash is
script.
important.
Check it out.
Yeah, look at that. We made the list.
You made the list.
Right on.
You're last, but you made the list. I didn't mean it that
Well,
way.
that sounds
There
about
it is.
right.
That's how whatever works.
And as we always say, we tag it this way. Go see a band.
Yes,
Get out there and
please
support
do.
some live music.
Support the scene.
Cover band, original band,
Yeah,
all the different
do
venues.
it.
There's plenty out there. There's
Yep.
plenty of activity out there, and they could all use our support. But all right, one last time, Ric Chetter, Monica Summerfield, thanks so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
We really had a good time with y'all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
And y'all have a great day.
Thanks,
Take care.
guys.